They say evil is dangerous, but stupidity is far more terrifying, because evil knows what it's doing and stupidity doesn't. Evil has intention, stupidity has conviction. And when a foolish man believes he's righteous, you cannot reason with him. You can only watch as he destroys everything around him. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a German pastor who stood against Hitler's empire, wrote this chilling truth while awaiting execution in a Nazi prison. He said, "Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice itself. Not because stupid people mean harm, but because they obey harm without question. They follow noise, not conscience. They echo crowds, not truth. And slowly the world burns, one blind agreement at a time. Look around you. This world doesn't collapse from villains in dark rooms. It collapses from silence in bright ones. From those who just follow orders, who say, 'It's not my problem,' who nod while injustice walks freely. This is the terrifying theory of stupidity. It is not a lack of knowledge, it's the surrender of thought. It is when a person stops questioning what they're told, when comfort becomes more valuable than courage, when thinking becomes an inconvenience. The Bible warned of this long ago. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, not because truth wasn't available, but because minds were asleep, because comfort became their God and ignorance their daily prayer. Bonhoeffer watched his friends, brilliant, educated men, turn into obedient instruments of tyranny. They were not monsters. They were ordinary people who gave up the discipline of thought. And that is what stupidity truly is, not low intelligence, but moral laziness. It is when a man stops seeking wisdom, when a woman stops asking why, when society stops caring about truth and starts worshiping convenience. So the question is, how do you fight it? How do you resist the infection of stupidity that spreads faster than truth itself? You begin by thinking dangerously, by questioning everything you repeat, by daring to doubt what the crowd applauds. Because wisdom doesn't scream, it whispers, and it requires silence, humility, and courage to hear it. When Christ stood before Pilate, the crowd shouted, "Crucify him!" The majority was united, loud, confident, and wrong. The truth stood bleeding in silence while ignorance cheered. That moment didn't just define history, it defined human nature. How quickly wisdom is outnumbered by noise. You see, stupidity isn't conquered by intellect, it's conquered by integrity. Because even the most educated fool will destroy what he refuses to understand. And even the simplest heart, guided by truth, can stand against an empire. So, ask yourself, are you awake or are you repeating what others want you to believe? Do you think or do you echo? Do you build truth or spread noise? The world doesn't need more clever men. It needs honest ones. It needs minds that cannot be bought and souls that cannot be silenced. Because when truth dies, stupidity wears the crown, and humanity kneels again. Bonhoeffer knew this. He chose death rather than compliance, and in doing so, he proved something profound. That wisdom requires sacrifice, that freedom is never granted to the mind that refuses to think. So rise, think deeply, even when it hurts. Speak truth, even when it costs you, because the day you stop thinking for yourself is the day someone else begins thinking for you. And that, my friend, is the beginning of chains. Then imagine this. A man stands alone in the ruins of a city that once shouted his beliefs. The banners are torn, the statues are broken, and the voices that once demanded obedience have gone silent. Only the echo of their ignorance remains. He looks up, not in defeat, but in realization. Because truth never dies in the fire, it's revealed by it. The flames that consumed the lies also purified the brave. And in the ashes, wisdom rises again, quiet, clear, eternal. That's the hidden mercy in all of this. Every age of stupidity gives birth to a new generation of thinkers. Every blind obedience creates a rebel who finally sees. Because the soul, no matter how buried, still hungers for light. You can suppress thought for a time, but never kill it. The Bible says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." But freedom doesn't begin in governments or revolutions. It begins in the mind. When a man chooses awareness over comfort, when a woman chooses wisdom over applause, that is the quiet revolution that terrifies empires. You are called to that revolution, to break the hypnosis of conformity, to see the world as it is, not as you're told it is, to question the news, the trends, the crowds, even your own fears. Because the greatest enemy of faith is not doubt, it's blind belief. And the greatest act of devotion is not obedience, it's awareness. That's why prophets walked alone. That's why saints were misunderstood. That's why the wise are always mocked before they're followed. Because to think clearly is to threaten the order built on ignorance. To see truth is to expose those who profit from illusion. So, choose the harder path. Not the one filled with applause, but the one lined with questions. Do not seek to fit in, seek to understand. Because every time you trade curiosity for comfort, you build another wall in your own prison. Look around. How many people move like ghosts, scrolling endlessly, believing endlessly, obeying endlessly, and yet never once stopping to ask, why am I doing this? That's not life. That's automation dressed as existence. The terrifying theory of stupidity isn't about others. It's about us. It's about how easily we drift when we stop thinking, how quickly the light dims when we stop seeking. But if you can pause, if you can observe, if you can dare to think when it's inconvenient, you will rise above the fog that blinds the world. You will not be manipulated. You will not be owned. Because truth becomes your sword and awareness your armor. Remember this: the enemy is not the fool. It is the surrender of your own mind to foolishness. It is when you allow others to think for you, feel for you, choose for you. And that's when freedom dies quietly, in exchange for comfort. But not you. You are here because something in you refuses to sleep. Something in you still burns for light. So let that flame consume the illusion. Let it guide you beyond the noise, because the world doesn't change when stupidity is defeated. It changes when awareness awakens. Rise, seeker. Stand apart from the blind. See with your own eyes. Think with your own soul. And walk boldly in the truth, even if the whole world calls you foolish for it. Because in a world drowning in noise, clarity is rebellion, and the thinkers, the truly awake, are the last guardians of freedom itself.